Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be just, going over the first two chapters or three chapters of Aristotle's categories. So Aristotle's categories become very important, not just in like the ancient world and of antiquity, but also within the medieval world, because that was one of the only Aristotelian texts prior to the Carolingian Renaissance that got transmitted to the medieval world. So a lot of medieval philosophy is based on the groundwork and the logic and the systems of Aristotle that he sets out in the categories. So this set like kind of the syllabus of what the Aristotelian project would come about into within thinkers like Aquinas, within a thinker like Scotus, like University Bean. So let's just begin. If this video gets 100 views, I'll continue this series, but if it doesn't, it'll be a one-off video. So quickly, the first and most important thing that Aristotle goes to is in regards to naming. You can name things one of three ways: equivocally, univocally, and derivatively. So equivocally means you have the same word, but there's two different definitions. So for example, strong. I can say someone is strong in terms of like their character and strong in terms of physicality. Now these things, both of the words are the same, strong, but the definitions of the words are pointing towards two different things. So that's important. That's equivocation. Now there's also a fallacy called the equivocation fallacy or word concept fallacy, which use the same word but you mean two different things. So you can falsely equivocate things and not properly term definition and name. And univocal naming is when definition and the name are the same. So like anytime you have something like, I don't know, you just say sturdy. This is physically sturdy. We're naming that univocally. So we're meaning the same thing both in definition and in word, and there's no other alternative. And now we get the most interesting one, derivatives. So derivative word would be something like stronger, or something that you have to have a prefix or a suffix to. They derive from a different thing. Logic, logician, is a derivative word of logic. So now that's mainly how Aristotle does naming. Now we have to understand how Aristotle defines particulars and universals. So within Gorgias and Republic by Plato, we see Plato start the project of the one and the many. So now Aristotle continues this with substance. So he distinguishes substance in one of two ways. There's primary and secondary substances. Primary substances are what Plato would call particulars, and secondary substances are what Plato would call universals. Now, the secondary substances are things that have groupings and that multiple things belong to, and primary substances are things that are individual. And in regards to primary substances, you can't add two primary substances together. Two primary substances cannot have the same name, so I can't group myself and a different primary substance together as a predicate. So this book can't be a Troy book unless we're using the term Troy in an equivocal way, not a univocal way. Troy as in things that are in my possession and not in me as a primary substance, but then that would shift the definition of what I am. So that's why it's very important. And you have to understand Aristotle, that predication can only happen between a subject, which is a substance, and another category that is not a subject, that is not substance or a subject. So quantity, the amount you have of something, that cannot be a subject, but you can predicate it of a different thing. So let's say we're talking about books. I can have 5 books. So now the subject and the primary substance is a book. And how many I have of that thing, which is predicated of it, is the quantity, 5. So we can see how this is able to be used in many different ways, not just in logical, philosophical ways, but also in theological ways and in the laws of science. We can see how certain things are predicated of certain things accidentally and also essentially. So primary substance is the essential part of what makes the thing is, and that which is predicated of it is accidental. So that which is accidental is not essential to what it is. So if you lose what is predicated in accidents, it doesn't change the essence of what a thing is. So yeah, that's just a broad overview of some Aristotelian categories and logic. If you like this video, like, subscribe, read my articles on Substack, and yeah, like the video, comment if you want to see more of this style of video on like Aristotle and explaining some things. Thank you.